Hello everyone, my name is Christian. Welcome back to Tekpon. Today our guest is Sebastian, the CEO of Taketask. Hello.
Hello, thank you for having me here. Hello to everyone.
Very nice to meet you. Please tell us what Taketask does.
Taketask is a task management application where we allow the users to design the processes, and it's a no-code platform. Mm-hmm. But the important thing is it's an application mostly for deskless workers. So it's like Asana, Jira, but for people that work not in front of a computer, but they work somewhere in the field, in the store, in a factory, or this kind of jobs.
So in a way you combine the physical world with the digital world, right?
Any task management application is joining a human being, which is a kind of analog component of the world with the digital world, which we are creating as humans. So we are doing it, but we are using smartphones mostly to communicate the tasks, the guidelines, the other uses that we send to the employees of our clients.
What are the problems that you solve for companies?
So first of all, the field where we are operating, the deskless workers, this is a field which is not well saturated with this kind of digitization tools, because most of the tools are dedicated to office workers. So this is the first thing. The other thing is that in those fields, there are a lot of changes at the time. The processes are changing. The people, are also changing. There is a lower retention. So people need to adjust to this new environment. And of course, this is stressful for them, because when you are a new employee, it always happens that you forget about something. So what we give these employees is a place where they can go and see the guidelines in a very user-friendly way, and then report it to the managers. So the managers know what's going on, and the employees feel safe and secure that they know where they need to go when they do not know what to do next or how to do something.
Understand. And what are your industries or your solutions?
So we are mostly in retail. This is the biggest amount of our clients are in retail. We started now to implement in other industries, like in production, for example, food quality, in restaurants, also in some smaller companies, because we started mostly with big enterprise clients, and now we also entered some smaller companies with our new SaaS offering. And these are companies like installation companies, they install some stuff for other companies or for individuals.
What would you say that are your top features?
So the general thing about task management is it's a very wide topic. So even if you have a few possible questions like yes, no, multiple select, etc., you can already name it a task management. The thing where we are, I think, very much distinct is this kind of hyper-personalization. Mm-hmm. So we understand that the office work is much more unified and much more stable than the outside world, like shops, etc. Because they are, each shop is different. Each place where our clients, employees go is different. And we allow to digitize those differences. And then based on those differences that are in the system, to properly craft the tasks so the employees do not have to answer questions with an answer called non-applicable. So they get perfectly the information they're supposed to get in this particular spot, in this particular moment. And this is really very hard to achieve, because the ways where the world can be different in different places are, just mind-blowing. And I think we managed to achieve it in quite a good way.
Happy for you. What are your pricing plans? So, or how do you charge?
Yeah, so we have plans for enterprise and for SMEs. So
Okay.
the biggest difference is that for enterprise, this is a separate separate system on a separate Azure cloud, so they are paying for the servers. Thus, they also pay less for the system, for the user.
Yes.
And in a SaaS version, the server costs are included in the pricing. So there are 3 plans. The starter one is for 14 euros. Then there is another one for 25, and another one for 30. Yeah. So generally, it's really based on what kind of, for big enterprises, what kind of features they need, so we can adjust the pricing for them.
Yes.
So that's it.
And isn't the pricing public?
Yes, it's listed on our webpage. We also have listed our system in Microsoft and Azure Marketplace.
Ah, okay.
So
I know why, but I couldn't find the pricing plans. That's why I asked.
No, it's both on our page.
Okay.
It's linked to Microsoft Marketplace, where you can click and simply purchase a few users if you want.
And do you have some integrations, or do you use all your software?
We do not have like embedded integrations where someone can plug into Google Calendar or something like this. Yeah. But we do have integrations for enterprise clients. These are many different systems.
Yes.
And yeah, we do it for the enterprise clients, because with small clients, the possibilities of different software that you could integrate task management are enormous. So we simply base it on Excel files. So you can import an Excel file with all the details, like characteristics of your location, users, and parameters of equipment you are using, etc. So the problem is that if you have this personalization, it's really very hard to define what will be the data source. That's why Excel is the most convenient and flexible tool. Yeah? So that's why we use it.
And are you the market leader? Are you the first one to do this? To solve this problem?
No, not really, because there are a lot of companies doing this. And in most cases, you define a market leader by number of users, companies, etc., revenue. So we are definitely not the market leader. We started a bit later. We took a bit more difficult path of making a no-code application, because we are not in low-code, we are at completely no-code. So our clients do not need IT guys to deliver different processes, etc., which in enterprise clients, it's very unique. Yeah?
Yes.
Maybe for full SaaS, it's quite normal, but for enterprise clients, this is something new. And so we decided to go for this very robust system. And unfortunately, we did not have enough funds to boost our sales. And now we are, getting there to some revenue level of 100K, where we can get the A round, and then we'll be able to boost our sales faster. Super.
But you've raised some funds in the past.
Yeah, we raised some funds. We raised over $1 million. Most of this money, all of this money, went to IT, because we also had clients. We have recurring revenue. We also had some big projects. The biggest project was for the Polish government, where in 2 days we launched a COVID home quarantine application that was like 11 million user accounts.
Wow.
There were some days we were doing hundreds of thousands of tasks in a single day. So it was a huge project, but it was out of our regular scope, which is enterprise.
Yes. Very interesting. And why did you choose this niche, this industry, this problem?
So we started with Taketask as something completely different. It was crowdsourcing app.
Okay.
So at that time, I was running my market research company, which was mostly dedicated to shopper audits, and it was a kind of a disruption we wanted to have. And with this in mind, I purchased a Taketask, a company with a crowdsourcing app. So this was the beginning, and after some time, I noticed that this particular system, which is a no-code system to do those tasks for users who are, really random users, you can actually use it for deskless workers and make their lives easier. And we started to talk with some clients, and they said, "Yeah, it's a cool idea." So we raised some first money on a crowdfunding campaign.
Yes.
It was one of the first crowdfunding campaigns in Poland, and we simply started to pivot. And now, the crowdsourcing is a minimal part, and it's like fading slowly.
But how many years ago was this happening?
So we started to build the new app. So we pivoted 5 years ago, and we say this was actually the beginning of new taking, because before it was for several years. I was running it for 2 years, and it was run by some other people for other 2 years. But the real beginning was 5 years ago, when we decided to pivot and started to raise money, started to build an application from the scratch with a new design, but with the idea of making something no code, very simple for deskless workers.
Very interesting, very interesting. And in those 5 years, what do you think was your biggest challenge? There were challenges that we managed to overcome, which are technological challenges. Yes.
At the beginning, when you build a really, really big system, for enterprise users, and it has to be safe, and it has to be user-friendly, and customizable, and really robust, etc., etc. There's so many variables that, from a technical point of view, it's a nightmare. So really, this was a very big challenge. Unfortunately, we managed to overcome this, and now the system is very stable, and it works really brilliantly. What we didn't manage to achieve is a very fast growth curve. Our idea was that after we build a system, have first clients, have first revenue, we'll be able to get some additional funding, like a pre-round for building the sales.
Okay.
But did not happen. We started at the beginning of COVID crisis, and this disrupted the whole situation. Then we tried another time, but we also did not manage to do it because people were looking at, those guys have a government contract, or it's like something stretch, those guys are doing, So although the government contract helped us a lot in actually building the software from the technical point of view, because it was a huge project, and the restraints on security and efficiency were extreme. You cannot find it even in the biggest enterprises for this level. But from the perspective of investors, this was something that they didn't like. And at that time, we didn't have funds to build a big sales team, etc. So we didn't grow so fast as investors would like to see. So we are now slowly growing, and I hope that at some moment we will get to a point where we will be fundable for the next level of our development.
But knowing this now, going back, would you refuse the offer from the government?
It's very hard to make those kind of decisions.
I guess.
Because you do not know what is the other option. If you told me, would you refuse and get 2 million pre-rounds to work on sales in the I said, yeah, of course.
But
you just gave me an option. Would you let those the whole contract in the last 2 years was something like 2 million. So would you just not take this 2 million from the government and not be able to work at such a scale, etc., and just get nothing in return. I would always say, no, really, I'm not sure about it. Yeah,
Yeah, it makes sense. And I'd love to hear your story before founding the company. What did you do?
I'm a serial entrepreneur. So I founded my first company when I was a student. It was like 27 years ago now.
Wow.
And it was a market research agency. And then during the companies, they were not called startups at the time. Companies, and they had to earn from the very beginning. So I started to utilize the resources I had, which is my friends on the college, and they were going to their cities and they were collecting data from me and getting back after the weekend with the questionnaires. And I was getting some people to type it in, and I was selling the service. And this is how I built the first company. The second one was a consulting company. We were selling trainings from the professors from our university. This was the very beginning of the real capitalist economy in Poland. So
especially
I was a student, no capital, no experience, etc. So I founded 4 companies during the studies. One of them was we started implementing and getting subway restaurants to Poland. So it's in a completely different business. But then I focused on those B2B and IT services. And this is how I came up with Taketask, how I simply purchased a company which the people that were running this company, they decided to quit it, and then I decided to buy it from them.
I understand. And do you have any piece of advice for starting founders?
Yeah, there is a lot of this, honestly. There is no one piece of advice. But I would say, first of all, which generally, I'm not a good example of this advice, because I didn't go this path. But it's like sales simply cure everything. So if you concentrate on sales, then the life is easier. The question is, if you want your life to be easier, or if you want to follow some other path. Unfortunately, I have some other choices. But you have to be aware of this. The other advice is that you have to be really, this is very hard to tell, where you are, because from one side, you have to know when you have to fail. So it's like this fail fast approach. And I failed fast several times. So you need to know when you have to cut your losses. But sometimes you need to know when you want to proceed, and when you really need to overcome another problem after another problem after another problem, and when you really think that you are deep down in this lake, and you feel, okay, now I'll start it, then you even go down 2 meters into the mud. So this is something you have to be ready for. When you start a new company, because it's not always that you start some brilliant idea and it really goes very quickly. In most cases, it takes really several years to get to a place where you will be able to exit the company, and in most cases you will fail.
Yes, but do you think the never give up advice is overly promoted?
Of course, because as I said, I failed several times now, and so I was engaged in a project, really very much engaged for 2 or 3 years. But then at some moment, I looked at the changing landscape, especially the competition, etc., and what kind of product I had in comparison to the competition, and said, okay, so I will not make it. So, for example, with Taketask, I know that the competition is getting stronger, but when I look at our product, I'm very sure that this product is on a very high level. Where like a few years ago, I had some other IT products, and those products were not very good. So they were, starting to penetrate a new market, but then, at the same time, many other competitors arrived, and some of them were simply better. So you need to look at the reality as it is, not as you would like it to be. So
Yes.
then you have to make a hard decision. But it's still it's something that a good entrepreneur knows. How when to really be resilient and really push harder. This is it.
Okay. What's your favorite software?
Beg your pardon?
What's your favorite software? Software product that you use, project management, CRM, email marketing, design, anything. Sales.
So I'm responsible mostly for business development, for legal stuff, and all the boring economic part, financials. So I mostly work with the CRM, and a lot of CRM. I use Pipedrive. And I use it really heavily. So I have some friends coming to me and asking me how to utilize more from Pipedrive. So I'm showing them. Although I know I do not know all the hacks over there, but from my particular need, it's really really not. So I generally like software. I was on a conference and yesterday, and they were sharing regular business cards. I got 40 of them, so I needed to find a software to scan business cards. So I just downloaded an app, and I have a new software for scanning business cards. so you cannot say you have the best software ever, but this changes. So one day I might change out my CRM or use some other software.
At what conference have you been?
Oh, it was the Polish trade organization. It's a government-sponsored conference for companies that want to export their products abroad. They have 40 branches all over the world. So they got all those people to Poland, so you could meet with these people, talk with them, etc. And when I'm on a conference, I always start from thinking how I can hack this event. I even wrote an article like 3 years ago how to hack Web Summit and get 100 business cards of investors during one Web Summit. So you need to know how to hack a given conference and get as many valuable contacts as possible. Because it's not about just gathering any contact; it's about filtering.
Yeah, very interesting. Is there anything else that you want to tell us today?
It's a very hard question, because it really depends on what can be interesting for the users. But I would say the most important thing as an entrepreneur is to find really the topic that is interesting for you. Because in those hard moments and the hard moments will really appear, if you do something that is boring for you, that is not interesting, that you dislike, etc., it will be harder. But if then at the back of your mind you will have this feeling that I'm doing something interesting, something important.
Yes.
Like for us, it's helping employees to have better, more engaging, and easier life at work. The workplace is changing all the time. So this is something that we do, and what helps us to get forward. But if you do something that is not interesting and not valuable, it's just for money, and then you get a punch from left and right, etc. Then you might not be as resilient.
Super. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for helping the community. I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much for having me here.